Thanks for staying with Headlines today. We're going to get you some of the best bits of the just concluded India Today Women's Summit and Awards 2014 that was held in the capital today, where women achievers from all walks of life debated issues that affect one half of the world's population. TV Today managing editor Rahul Kanwal caught up with Commonwealth gold medalists Dipika Palikal and Jwala Gutta as well as PV Sindhu on the sidelines of the summit. Here's what the smashing champions had to tell him.
Racket sports in India have never got the sort of prominence ever as they're doing now. Whether it is squash, badminton or tennis, India's smashing ladies are putting racket sports on the global map and making people in India more interested than ever before. Joining us now, Jwala Gutta, PV Sindhu and Deepika Palikal. Thank you all very much for joining us and congratulations on your superb performance in the Commonwealth Games. Let's just take it one by one, and I start with Deepika because squash has been the younger, ignored cousin of badminton and then before that tennis. How has this victory been for you and what do you think this does for Indian squash?
I think, it's been huge for us. I mean, people have actually started to recognize myself and Joshna. I mean, as you were saying that people are actually buzzing to play squash in clubs. We've always had courts very empty in every club. It's been great, but I think as I said, it's now or never for squash. We've got to start promoting the sport. We've got to start making champions, and I think this is the right time. I mean, we've won a medal for the country, and I think it proves that there is talent in this country. And I really hope that the people who are in charge of it really takes a step forward.
Because we've seen over the last few years, badminton and also tennis really mushroom. Lots of academies, lots of interest. Thanks to what? Jwala, Sindhu, Saina, Shah, all of them have done, Sanya. But with squash it hasn't been like that. What do you think needs to be done immediately to ensure that squash too gets the sort of recognition that badminton and tennis does?
See, I think the main reason why I'm going to talk about badminton is because of Saina, Jwala and Sindhu. I think after they did really well in Delhi, suddenly the game shot up, people started recognizing it, endorsements started coming in. And I said, and I've always said that once we win that gold or once we win that Commonwealth Games and Asian Games, it will change the sport. And I really hope, I really hope that there are more tournaments in the country. There's more funds coming in. We have ample support from the government. And once we get tournaments in the country, just like the Commonwealth Games, which opened up sport to the people, I think it will change the face of sport in India.
Do you see that change percolate already, Jwala? Because you've seen the good days of Indian sport, you've seen the bad days, you've seen when there's been interest, you've seen when, despite achievements, there's been lack of interest. Do you see, by and large, non-cricket sports get more recognition than ever before?
The interest has grown, definitely, I'll not deny. That is one of the reasons why we had IBL also last year, and it was a very big hit. Interest is also changing because I think there are a lot of sources of news now, because we have a lot of, the media has grown really strong amongst people, because a lot of people maybe don't have time to read paper and they can just switch on TV and they know what's happening around the world in our country. So I think things have changed a lot. For sports, I think we were lucky that Delhi Commonwealth Games, Commonwealth Games happened in India, and I think that also changed a lot for Indian sports. So I hope that...
How do you assess India's performance in these Commonwealth Games? Last time we had almost double the number of goals have come down. In every other country that I look at, the number of golds, silvers and bronzes virtually the same. Do you think we haven't been able to build on the games of Delhi while the number of sports where we are winning in has gone up? So we've got gymnastics, we've got squash coming in, which won medal winners earlier, but the number of medals has come down. Do you think a lot of the gains of the Commonwealth Games have been frittered away?
See, I'll talk about my sport. If Saina had played, we would have won another medal for sure. We didn't get that. Team event, we did not get a medal, which was very important. Last time we won a silver, and this time we should have aimed for gold, but we didn't have proper doubles pairs to back on. And this is where I was talking about. We talk about so much growth and so much development in badminton especially. But for me, I think we have come one step down after Delhi, because we were not able to win the team championship medal where we beat England. We'd never beaten England before Commonwealth Commonwealth Games in Delhi, and it was a big achievement because they're known for their mixed doubles and their paired events, and we beat them in those events and won the silver medal. And here this time we lost to them 3-0, which was, I was very upset that day. And
Sindhu, what's your sense? Your career started off in a blaze of glory, and then there were some minor upsets. While you're still very young and you've got a fabulous future ahead of you, hopefully, do you think that maybe the initial burst of glory was a bit much for you to get used to as quickly as you faced it?
I think, of course, the media is always there. So once, if we win, it gives us so much of limelight, and if we lose, they're like, she lost or something like that in the papers. But I think really no need to focus on the media. Just it's better to play our game and show them what it is.
So, what is your relationship, Sindhu, with Saina?
Of course, when we play against each other, as you know, everybody knows, everybody thinks that, everybody asks me that what it is. So on court, it's of course the rivalry that anyone thinks that they should win, and outside, I'm just normal. But I don't know.
Are you friends?
Yeah, of course. From my point of view, I am.
That's like a googly or a bouncer. From your point of view, you are, and from her point of view,
I think so. I don't know. You
Jwala can tell us. You're folks hanging around the court.
I'm not friends with Saina.
No, what about their equation?
I don't want to comment on her equation, but I would only suggest Sindhu that she has set a benchmark, which is good for her. And if you have to do better than her, you have to work harder. And the kind of facility she's getting and the kind of backing she's getting, I'm sure she'll do better. And
but
it's only healthy
competition is innate to that relationship, because you're the challenger, she's the champion. Does that by itself create a sense of friction?
It's a healthy competition. I think it should be a part of.
You're speaking for her.
No, you asked me earlier, so I'm just saying it's a healthy competition, and that should you should have that kind of a competition in every sport.
Of course, it's not that only champions can win all the time.
That's also challengers too.
I think
long live the
pushes
underdog.
her even more, you know, knowing that there's a benchmark there and she can reach even higher than that. I think that pushes her.
Yeah, and she has the age to herself.
I think we're all talking for her. I think we shouldn't make her
Poor thing. She's being bullied out of you've got two
Thanks to them that they're talking for me.
But you've also got a similar situation, say, with Joshna, right? You play together as individuals, you compete, and then so at least Saina and Sindhu don't need to play doubles together. You got Ponnappa and Jwala to do that. How does that work?
I think we actually share a very healthy relationship. I mean, the press and media, obviously we're rivals, where, you know, when we're on court, we want to beat the hell out of each other. We want to win and, you know, move on. But when it comes to our singles career, yes, we have our personal goals. We don't think about, I don't think about, oh, Joshna is number 10 in the world, I want to get higher than her. Our personal goal is to get to world number 1, and that's where we focus on. And then the thing is that Joshna has always been the face of Indian squash. You know, I've seen her as a kid. You know, she's been national champion for the last 12 years. And there are certain goals I want to think. My goal was never to become as famous as Joshna or the face of Indian squash. My aim was to win medals for the country, get to India number 1. Right now is to get to world number 1.
Yeah, I think that's what she told Shashi Tharoor last year. Yeah. I will be world champion.
I will be, yes.
Taken aback. This young girl. And I think that's the dream that fires the ambition.
I think as you know, when you have a goal, you do everything to reach it, and I think it's very important to stay very humbled, stay very focused, stay very determined, and cut out everything, all the external affairs which come with it, and just focus on that goal.
And very important to have a goal.
Yes.
There are several men squash players or badminton players who, when we chat with, say the women have it easier. You guys chase the women, they're glamorous, and they're the ones who get all the limelight. We also practice so hard, we play so hard.
I would suggest that do as good as how we are doing, then talk about it.
But Kashyap's done well this time. He won a fabulous gold.
Yeah, so
held his nerve. We were all biting our nails, but he did really well.
But I think he's getting the recognition he deserves. I think
he's getting it.
Saina and him and everyone, they've all become the face of Indian badminton.
So he is getting it.
There's always been a cricket, non-cricket divide in India. Do you think that the amount of attention that cricketers get is now coming down in comparison with earlier, do you think you're getting a fair share of attention, or do you still feel that they hog all the
Basically,
limelight?
it's that the other like squash and badminton are doing well. It's not like cricket is not doing well, but we are doing much more better than.
See, I don't
right
think cricket
now.
is the attention. The thing is coming down. I think our sports are going higher because we're winning medals for the country. Cricket is always going to be, you know, the most elite sport in
My
the country.
father loves cricket.
You said at the Women's Summit session that you hated
I
cricketers.
hated cricketers until I
You
met
still do?
Dinesh. Until I met Dinesh.
So now you just changed your equation with Dinesh or with
No,
all
I
his
think,
mates
see,
as well?
you know,
I don't think she means that she hates
it
cricketers.
was just, it was just like, you know, we were, you know, frustrated and things because
you feel hurt.
Yes. You know, we also used to perform the same way, but we never used to get the
you
attention
feel
or
hurt.
anything.
Yeah, because when your performance is not acknowledged, forget about getting sponsors and endorsement, that is all secondary, I think. It's just, you know, when somebody acknowledges, I'm sure that if somebody comes and says, Rahul, you have done an absolutely fantastic job, they don't have to pay you, but they just have to acknowledge your work. You know, that gives you a greater sense of satisfaction than anything else. Even money will not matter then. So if that happens to us, then that's what we live for, or that's why we play for the country. It's like when we win a medal, a little acknowledgement, Jwala, you've done a great job. That's about it.
How does somebody who grew up hating cricketers, metaphorically speaking of course, end up getting hitched to a cricketer?
Tough question. No, I think you know, obviously I hated cricket is a bit strong, but I think when it comes to sport in general, I mean, you obviously got to know, you know, I got to know Dinesh. You know, Dinesh is a genuinely very nice guy. You know, off the field, obviously everything is very, very different. It was just frustrating for us to have kept performing, kept winning medals for the country, never getting that acknowledgement, as Jwala said. It's very disheartening because when you come back, you know, your family, everyone's so proud, and then you just don't get any acknowledgement. And then you've got to keep proving yourself and keep proving yourself, and then, you know, at one point you just say, you know, how much can I do? So it's a bit frustrating, but I think, as you know, all our sports are growing. You know, we just have to keep winning medals.
So you've
for
got
the country.
Dinesh started in squash?
I have, but I think he
Does he lose under five, love?
Cricket's easier for him, so he's going to stick to cricket.
You know, coming to what happened at the Commonwealth Games and the way ahead for Indian sports, you told us that you still haven't been paid your per diem in toto for these Commonwealth Games. Now that to my mind is ridiculous.
See, I think, you know, we can't obviously comment about what happens behind, but, you know, we've obviously got half of our daily allowance. We've been we've been told that when you go back to your, you know, when you go back home, you will get the rest
By
of
whom?
it.
IOA.
How can they hold it back? It's your daily allowance.
Yeah, but it comes from the IOA, so basically they distribute it at the Commonwealth Games or any games you play at, because, you know, of the amount you spend or whatever, they give you a daily allowance, and I think it was a so-and-so amount, you know, dedicated to us, and we've only got half of it, and they've
So much in trouble, man.
so they've told us that we're going to
No, but Jwala, this is a real problem. Now, you've got a freeloader who's there, who's got nothing to do with the squash or badminton, whose presence or absence makes no difference to our fortunes, who then decides how much you get paid. If there's $50, you got 25. Why should he have? Why should he be deciding this in the first place? How do you change that?
See, that I don't think is in our control right now, because we are active sports persons and we can't really afford to even put a thought to it. I had actually forgotten about it, and you know, I just was reminded here. So that's a very small part of the problem, which you can actually ignore. You know, there are bigger problems which we need to look at.
Because when we go playing for, you know, ourselves, and, you know, we obviously play for the country on our singles tour, we don't get our daily allowance. We pay everything from our own money, so we're used to it. But when we pay for the country, yes, there are some rules. They give us daily allowance. We're very, very, you know, happy with their support. But, you know, obviously, we've been told that we're getting amount of money and we haven't got the full thing. So obviously we're not complaining, we're not you know, angry with them.
We're just pointing out that once.
No, you're just being very kind. I'd be mighty upset if someone did that to me. And I think it's completely unacceptable. I understand your position and not wanting to take on the federation, but it's not okay.
What she's trying to say is that that's the basic problem. You can only imagine how bigger problems we are facing actually. This is the smallest thing which should have been very easy for the IOA, you know, the federation to just give the whole thing at once. It was a very small thing. It is a very small thing for them. But what she's trying to say, even in the smallest of the thing, we're still facing problems. You can only imagine how bigger the problems are actually happening.
We currently have a new government in power. So let's take it from the senior most pro first. He has a history of getting into trouble with the federation. What do you think the new government and India's new Prime Minister Modi can do to try and encourage Indian sports so that we do better in Rio going forward than we've done in the past?
I think first he should make every penny count which government gives to the association.
How much of that do you think gets lost? Rajiv Gandhi said out of 100, 85 gets lost, only 15 reaches the people. If there's 100 rupees for sports, how much do you think?
Is that what Rajiv Gandhi said?
Rajiv Gandhi said that long back in the 80s.
Yeah. I don't think I was born, yeah. Oh, that's great.
No, so now, how much do you think reaches the person who needs that money?
We don't get money. We only are part of a national camp, and that's about it. We don't get any money from the association.
No, so what would you like to see Prime Minister Modi do?
I would like to ask him to keep a check on how much money is being spent on every sport. Ask for the accounts. Don't just give money as it's needed. You should have an accountability. You should have one person in charge for every sport who sees that every money is spent properly on every sport. And I would like to also tell him that he should probably ask the private sponsors to, you know, have a kind of a sports policy for every private sector, that every sport you sponsor or you make a sports person as your brand ambassador, you will get some, you know, relaxation in taxes. That way the private sector will be attracted to sports.
Sindhu, what would you like to see the new government do for sports?
I think, you know, when we win something, they tell us, okay, we are announcing this much and that much. I think they need to give that immediately. They
How
just
long does it
keep
take
on
usually to get this money?
I don't know how much time. It just takes time.
6 months, 1 year?
I don't know. I can't tell you exact time, but it just goes on. So and then one day.
If you make a promise, make an announcement, don't publish the ad, give the money. That's more important, right? Because usually we see grand declamations of announcements. You're saying they don't often get followed up.
Yes.
That's one. What else would you like to see the new government do?
And I think they have to encourage the sport more, as in like it's, you know, they have to, of course it's coming in the papers and everything, but it's always like politics, that's always there, but I think they have to encourage the sport more, not only badminton but in everything.
Yeah, I would like to make a point. Sports should be given a priority,
yes,
on top of everything else right now. And this is what we need at this hour for our country's development. We need to develop our sports first, and then he will also see that our the country's development will follow. But sports is...
Because in several countries, most notably in the case of China, as the country progressed, their fortunes in Olympic after Olympic virtually spiraled because of the effort that was made. Deepika, what do you think the government should be doing to encourage sports?
See, I think, you know, obviously, you know, we have a middleman when it comes to the government and us. It's the federation. I think everything goes through the federation and then comes to us. I think we need to find, I mean, I can't comment about any other federation. Yes, our federation has supported us up to a point. I think they've, you know, been very nice and healthy. We've shared a very healthy relationship with them. But I think you know, there has to find a loophole where, you know, the government can come directly to us and support us. You know,
middlemen are always bad. They always,
I'm not commenting on that.
No, I'm not just saying about middlemen in sports, but I'm saying all middlemen.
I think, you know, eventually, yes, we get our money, but it takes, you know, it takes time, and then, you know, we've got to pay it from our pockets and we get reimbursed. I think there has to be a loophole where the government can directly, you know, go straight to the top players and, you know, just help them out. It takes a lot of time, as, you know, Sindhu said, there's a lot of process, you know, we know that the government, there's a lot of process long process. And I think just to make it easier for us, you know, when we go on court and when we play matches, the only thing we want to think about is to win medals. We don't want to think about, oh, you know, I've got to, you know, get some cash in the bank because I have to pay for this ticket and then the government reimburses us. We don't want that. So I think just to make the whole process easier, there should be a connection between the government and all the
At
top
the
players.
big felicitation yesterday at the Vigyan Bhavan, the Prime Minister was missing. Would you have liked to see the Prime Minister come and meet all
Yes,
the CWG?
of course.
We would have.
Definitely.
That's the ritual, as in after every Commonwealth Games or Asian Games, we always meet the Prime Minister. I was expecting him to be there, but I was a little,
Did any of the organizers tell you why the Prime Minister wasn't
No,
there?
we didn't know. Yeah.
There was Sachin there.
And Sachin got into a big mess of his own.
Yeah.
Sachin and the sports minister was there.
Yes.